My name is Blake Cohn, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Network of Schools in Partnership. And I am so excited to be here today to just sort of sit back and enjoy a conversation about what capstone projects look like and talk about what they're going to, how we're going to sort of look at capstone and how we present them, et cetera, in distance learning. I was so excited to be introduced to the National Capstone Consortium. RJ has been a participant in a bunch of our webinars in the past. And so RJ, Dagan, Matthew, Eden, John, and Seth, thank you all for being here and helping facilitate this conversation. Everybody should have received an email from me this year, today or yesterday, that had a shared Google Doc and also the agenda. I will put both of them up in the chat function. We're going to use the shared Google Doc when we go to our breakout rooms so we can take notes. A couple of just general pieces of information. I've put everybody on mute. Feel free when you have a question to put it up in the chat or raise your hand. There will be time for conversation, but it just makes hearing easier for everybody else. And I'm really going to pass it over to the experts in Capstone, and they're going to share with you not only what they're thinking about for the next couple of weeks, but this amazing thing that they introduced me to called the Mighty Network, which I'm so grateful to be introduced to that as well. And if I don't say it now, I will share all of this out with everybody at the end of this, the recording, the notes, the slides, etc. It's open, fair game for everybody. So just hold tight. It takes about 24 hours for me to get it all out to everybody. So with that said and done, welcome. I will pass it off to whoever, John is going to start. Okay, perfect. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're really excited for today. Before we shift to some slides we have to kind of set the tone of our conversations coming up, I thought we could begin with a round of introductions with our faces. My name is John Callis. I'm from the Emma Willard School. At my school, the program that we run, which is a capstone program, is called Signature. I've been doing that for 10 years. And I will mute myself now.
Hi, everyone. I'm RJ Sakai from Sequoia School in Pasadena. I am the Director of Social Innovation, and a large part of that involves designing and administering our impact projects, which happen for 11th and 12th graders. This is my third year in the position at a 4-year-old high school.
Aloha, good morning. My name is Dagan Bernstein, and I teach at Hawaii Preparatory Academy, located in Kamuela on Hawaii Island. And I'm a 8th grade algebra and capstone teacher. And this is my 5th year teaching capstone. We have programs at grades 5, 8, and 12 at our school, which is a K-12 independent school with boarding 9-12.
Hi, I'm Eden Maisel. I'm at Hillbrook School in Los Gatos, California, Bay Area, and I have a few different roles at the school, 8th grade team lead and capstone coordinator, but also a guidance counselor for our high school transition. And so our capstone is 8th grade, and we've had it for about six years, I think, and we're really struggling with defining it and kind of revamping it as we brought in some other initiatives. So we're in sort of a transition period.
Hi, I'm Matt Spearing from St. John's Prep. I serve as the Director of Environmental Sustainability. We are in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is just north of Boston. It's an all-boys Catholic school, and we are just wrapping up the end of our first year of capstone, and it's been really great to be part of the National Capstone Consortium.
Hi, everybody. I'm Seth O'Brien from the Harley School, pre-K through 12 day school in Rochester, New York. I'm a capstone teacher for 8th grade and 12th grade optional program, and I'm also the sustainability coordinator.
All right, did we get everybody? I believe so. So I'm going to shift now and start up with a couple of slides. Oops. Almost there. Oh, the Zoom's in the way. All right, we'll start with that. Can everyone see that okay? Thank you. Here's a slide that I stole from my friend Nina Leacock, who's an important member of the Capstone Consortium. And I love it because it speaks to the transformative nature of capstones. We are obviously big believers in capstones, and we feel like not only is it a program that's really great to consider right now in our current situation, but it is one that can transform schools in lots of different ways. We have had the experience over the past couple of weeks of being very impressed with a number of people who have come across Capstone on their own. Here we have Randy Weingarten, who's the president of the American Federation of Teachers, and she tweeted out an option for Capstone for the situation that we're in right now that we wholeheartedly agree with. For a bunch of different reasons, we think the Capstone is really useful and powerful and transformative. It's a really creative way to end a year, especially an unusual one like we have right now. It's a very flexible program that can be adapted to lots of different levels, from 8th grade up to high school and even beyond. We see it in colleges, and we also see it in businesses. Fundamentally, it's a really progressive kind of education, which embraces 21st century skills that a lot of us are thinking about now as we develop our new courses and the like. And it really does prepare students for life in a way that I think a lot of other courses that we have at our schools don't.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone here and lots of familiar faces.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
Okay.
That's my fault.
No worries. I'll keep going. So there are a lot of questions I think people have right now is how do we recognize this moment that we're in while also, not trying to be too, provoke too much anxiety in students. And so I gathered a few different examples of some capstone-like projects that are happening out in the world by teens and youth. So this first one is in Manhattan. Jordan is a sophomore, and for the past 4 years has been teaching tech skills to seniors in the city, and providing them with small assignments like sending text messages about what they're doing this week. But when Corona hit, he delayed classes, paused classes for a week while he got all 50 of his students up on Zoom and reworked his curriculum to meet the moment. So that meant teaching the older folks how to use FaceTime, how to find reputable news online, how to order groceries. So really acknowledging the key pieces that were needed in order for everyone to thrive and feel connected to family and friends. The next example is from San Jose, California. Sarika and Uditha are from Leland High School. And within 48 hours of coronavirus happening, they spent the next 48 hours after coronavirus happening to imagine and design a curriculum that met state and district standards for 1st through 8th grade, and gathered 90 of their high school peers to create an online tutoring system. So they offer hour-long lessons in reading, math, writing, science to tutor over 350 students. And then the next and last one, maybe you've heard of Avi from Mercer Island High School in Washington. Way back in December, which feels so long ago now, he created a website that you can find here. This is the URL, ncov2019.live. That scrapes government websites from around the world, getting their data on coronavirus and compiling it into one website. There's an awesome interview that Amy Goodman did with him on Democracy Now!, where he talks about how he taught himself all of these skills, how he's looking to change the name to Germ Tracker. This was before he's now getting 30 million views a day from around the world. So back when he didn't think he would get that much traction, he had this URL, and now he wants to change it to germtracker.com so that it's more, not only easier to remember, but also can be prepared for any future pandemics and outbreaks. So these skills of teaching oneself and pivoting and adapting to the moment, I think, are things that we all might want to see our own capstone students doing. I wanted to, there are a lot of questions I think we all have about how do our programs adapt, right? And I wanted to offer some advice, some strategies that we're taking at Sequoia School. It's to start with your why. So this comes from Simon Sinek. Maybe you've seen his talks or read his books. But it just means to make decisions beginning with the mission and vision of your program. So if you go to the next slide for us, this is going to be different for everyone, but for us, these are some components that we are, striving to teach and have our graduates come away with. So hoping that our students through Capstone are fiercely optimistic about the future of the world, that they're able to think both divergently and convergently, kind of brainstorming while also focusing in on ideas that get traction. And lastly, able to develop meaningful relationships and partnerships with people. And so as we adapt, some things that I find myself saying in relation to these values, things I'm saying to students, I don't know the answers to where your project should go from here, but I'm here to help you figure it out and to help you be optimistic about your ability to make change. In terms of thinking creatively, divergently, and convergently, I'm saying do a lot quickly and see what sticks. This idea of failing fast, try not to invest too much time, because at the speed that things are changing, we can't afford to, devote 2 months or more like we normally might into a project and then release it out into the world. For us, this might not be for you, but I care more about your process than your outcome. So your ability to document your work and your process and show that you're able to pivot and make research-informed decisions, to me, is more important than a super polished outcome. And lastly, I'm saying things like, how might you nurture relationships with your partners during this time? So like, just because we've moved into this new era, how can you continue to keep those relationships up? Lastly, I know we're all thinking about nuts and bolts of our programs, like really what are some of the decisions we need to make. So some of the pressing issues that we're seeing in the Capstone Consortium: student motivation, community engagement, final presentations, and how to end the year in a meaningful way. This is a screen grab from the Mighty Network that Blake mentioned. So some options and ideas about each of these categories. Some strategies you might employ. Regular meetings, one-on-one meetings, I find are really a savior here. They help the kind of social emotional support of students, but also help me advise students' projects in a really meaningful way. Work journals, facilitator swaps is something we do. So we have a number of faculty who advise in our Capstone program, and letting them swap with each other so students and faculty see different faces. Of course, increased scaffolding, and both advising to narrow focus, but also considering that maybe now is a time to explore different ways that their capstone topics might apply to our current world condition. In terms of community engagement, we've had success with video chat appointments and interviews. As part of that, I've included instruction for students for how to create Google Calendar events and include Zoom links or Google Hangout links, realizing that that's a key piece of, it's a key skill needed that we're all learning to employ during this era. I'm encouraging some students to design participatory workshops that can happen in the virtual space. And of course, continuing to talk with community partners, both as administrators, faculty, and students. I know that for us, some partners maybe have assumed that we as a school are overwhelmed with other decisions we need to be making, when in fact we are eager to partner. Communication, lastly, for that kind of communication, I'm thinking of communication as an end and not necessarily as a means, right? Like for a student, communicating with a partner can be the end in my book. And lastly, the big question, final presentations. Normally this is such a celebratory moment that really brings a school community together and defines culture. So how do we make that happen? A few different strategies we've heard about. Live video presentations, similar to what we're doing here. Recorded presentations, perhaps using Zoom or loom.com. A hybrid model where there are pre-recorded presentations with a live Q&A panel. We're also thinking about online portfolios and maybe interactive ways that people can communicate and give feedback asynchronously, like with a discussion forum. And something that we normally do are printed booklets. So I'm thinking about how to distribute that to students even while we're all working from home. But presentation days are needed now more than ever as we're all distributed and need to find moments to come together and unite.
Thanks, RJ.
John, you want to talk about discussion?
Yeah, got it. Thank you. That was a real nice overview of some of the current topics that are in Capstone now, and so much can come from that. And I hope to get some of that going in the breakout rooms that we have coming up soon. To start the process, just as a place to possibly start the conversation, we came up with a couple of prompts here to think about. First one is, how are you adapting your Capstone program for remote learning? And the second question is, what is the move to remote learning revealing about what you care about in your program? So again, these are just to get the conversation going, but please, whatever's on your mind now as it relates to Capstone, please bring those up in our meetings, and we can definitely talk about those. And I will now mute.
Blake, how are our breakout rooms looking?
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure.
I think I got the hang of this share screen thing. Hopefully I won't screw myself up as much as I did RJ. All right, so thanks for all the conversations, people. That was my first time participating in a Zoom official meeting with breakout rooms. That was really cool. I appreciate that. We are hoping this is the start of a conversation, and we would love to continue talking with you about Capstone. We can go on for hours and hours. There's a number of ways you can do that. You can find us on Twitter. You can check out our website, which has a bunch of good information, especially about our summer summits, which is a big activity that we do. We will be in California next year. We are not going to be there this summer as planned, but that's going to happen. But really excitingly, we would love for you to join us in our Muddy Network. This is an initiative started by Dagan, gosh, just a couple of days ago, really, and it's really taken off. It's a wonderful private network to have conversations with like-minded people, and it'd be great if you could all jump in there and continue the conversations that we're having now. In addition, I'm sure our emails will be shared with you at some point. If you can hit us up, and you'll find all of us more than happy to talk with you about Capstone. And the collaboration is in our blood. We love talking about it. And in this group, we have a lot of experience working on it. And just in case you're from a public school, we have a number of people in our consortium as well who work in that venue, and be happy to talk with you about that. With that, Blake, I think we're done.
Okay, thank you all for being here. I put in the chat over here the Capstone Consortium and their Mighty Network, but like I said before, I will share all of this out with you, the docs, the slides, and everybody's emails. If for some reason you don't want to share your email out with this group of people, just send me an email and I'll remove you from the list. And and then I welcome you guys to share this out and keep connecting and join the Mighty Network. I'm completely and totally stealing their idea, and NNSP is creating a Mighty Network too. So thank you for sharing that with us. So
Any
anyway.
last minute words from the rest of us? I should have
sorry.
a moment there for that. Sorry.
I had a question. Dagan had mentioned finding the transcript of this past Sunday chat about final presentations. Is that in the Mighty Network part of the website?
Sure is. There's two really awesome chats you can check out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And you can join us on Sunday for the next one.
Yes, he had mentioned that. Thanks very much for today.
Dagan, Eden, RJ, any of us, any last words?
Just real quick, again, plugging the Sunday chat, 8 p.m. Eastern on Mighty Networks, open chat. We're calling it a Capstone Mixer. You can just come and join in. And I have heard from just one person who had trouble joining the Mighty Network through the invite feature. So I'm new to it. I'm in contact with their IT department. If there's any issues, I have my email in the chat box. Please email me directly and I will work to try and get you on there as soon as possible. It's been running 99% good, just one outlier. So I just want to make sure if you want to get on, you can get on. So, but yeah, come join us on the Mighty Network. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you to Blake, that the spirit of collaboration that we're all engaging in has been really fun and great and productive.
Well, I love it when I'm learning new things. So thank you all so much. NNSP continues to have webinars like this. I call them conversations because I'm tired of being spoken to, and I like, as you can tell, all of you saw me popping in all the rooms. I like being part of the conversation. So they're on our website. Next week is titled Now What? Because we've talked a little bit about what community engagement could look like, but now we're a couple weeks in, and I'm certain all our challenges are rearing their heads. So join us. It's been fantastic. Thank you, National Capstone Consortium, and all of the people. I will share out the notes. You name it, you got it. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend and that they're safe and healthy, and we'll see you at the next conversation. Thank you.